number of
This
servers,
conference will now be recorded.
if we have a number of servers, then we should do via deployment server. Okay, so now I have a couple of forwarders. Now I need to do configurations. See, configurations for Windows it may differ and for Linux it may differ. Okay, so now how we can do these configurations? We can do the configurations with the help of apps. With the help of apps. See, even on your mobile, through browser you can access anything. For example, Amazon Prime or Facebook or your Gmail, anything you can access via browser. Okay, but there won't be any specific configuration. It's like a unique one for not unique one. It's like a generic one for all the applications. But if you install some certain apps, Facebook app or Gmail app, so then your settings can be organized properly. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So similarly, in Splunk also we will install apps. So first things we will install apps and then we will do server class. So server class is nothing but a mapping, means which application should go to which mobile, for example. So which application should go to which server, and clients are like list of forwarders. So we'll do these things. So first thing what we'll do is we will, as we have like Windows and Linux server, so we will install one Windows app, we will install Linux app because we have a Linux server as well. On server class we'll do a mapping. For example, all Windows servers, I have some n number of Windows servers, so all the Windows servers should have this Windows app, because Windows app if it goes into Linux environment there is no use. Similarly for Linux servers, Linux app should go. So these kind of configurations we'll do on server class, means which app should go to which server. Those kind of things we'll do it on server class. And clients are normal, all the UFs will have like how many UFs you have, it will display all the things. Okay, so is it clear? So we'll go into configurations.
Yes.
So all Splunk related apps, you can download from splunkbase.com. So Splunk has a website like a kind of an app store. From here we can download all Splunk related apps similar to Play Store or Apple Store. So Splunk has splunkbase.com. From here we can download all the apps. See, if I want to onboard some Windows data, means data from Windows Server, I need some application which is called as an add-on. So Splunk add-on for, see here itself it is displaying like multiple apps. So multiple datas can be onboarded into Splunk. Okay, so for example, now we are using Windows Server. Okay, we can use this one, Splunk add-on for Microsoft Windows. So we can download this. Okay, so here they will give some overview also. Okay, and even details they will give about this app, everything. And here right side, this is the current version and where it is supported. So supported version Splunk 7.3, 8.0, everything. So our Splunk is like 737. So 737 falls under this. So it will support. So download. So the credentials would be the same credentials which you used for Splunk.com website. Credentials would be same which you used for Splunk.com website. Okay. So we'll download. Similarly, for Linux also, we'll download Linux related. So Splunk add-on for Unix and Linux. Unix and Linux. So this one has to be placed on Linux servers. Okay. So we'll download this one also. See, in organizations also we'll download in the same way and these apps, and later we'll go for customization. So I'll show you like what those customizations as well. So download. Okay, I have downloaded one Windows app, one Linux app. Okay. So, okay. So we'll unzip. Okay, let me install some zip thing. I do not have. Okay. So it is in a double zip. One is like tar file and another one is, so this is the main file which we have downloaded. Okay, so again we have extracted this one. So once again we'll extract. Okay, we have extracted. Similarly for Windows also we'll do. So if you're using WinRAR or WinZip kind of thing, okay, you can place on mute. Whenever you have some questions you can ask. There is a lot of echo from your side. So if you are using WinZip or WinRAR in a single time, you can extract. So I'm using Win7zip. So that is one more tool. Okay. So where we'll have like double time extraction we need to do. Okay. So now see, this is called as an app. Splunk TA, technical add-on for Windows. So in this, we will have, see, we have discussed about local means like file precedence as well. So the same structure will available here also. Okay. So here default and local. Default. So local we can create. So by default, which came from Splunk, we'll have a default thing. So under default, there are a couple of configurations. See, app.conf will give you about which version you are using, which version you are using, which version of app you are using. App.conf will give you. So if you open this one, so here it will say like, see, version. So this guy Splunk is the author for this app, and this is the version. And okay, so inputs. So inputs are very important one, which says like where which data you need to bring into Splunk. See, for example, if you want to bring OS related logs from your server, and in that this is called as a stanza. So if you want to onboard application logs, see disabled equal to 1 means true. See normally in what is it, Boolean expressions, 1 stands for true, 0 stands for false. Correct? Do you know those Boolean things? 0 and 1's like true or false.
Yes, sir.
So disabled 1 means it is true, means it is disabled. Okay, and start from oldest and current only 0 means when we are pushing, means when the forwarder has to pull the data. Okay, so here interval is like 5. So these are all called seconds. So what will happen is, okay, for example, see, this is my complete time frame. Okay, okay, consider this right side line as my time frame. Okay, so now, so at 0 minute, for example, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, like that interval will be there. So whenever we want to search the data, what we'll do, we'll use like previous 5 minutes or 10 minutes, like that. Correct? So now here it says like interval is 5 seconds. So for every 5 seconds, for every 5 seconds, Splunk will read the data from the server. For every 5 seconds, Splunk will read the data. So that is, it is mentioned as interval is 5 seconds. Now what is meant by this start from oldest and current is 0? See, every 5, when it reads from every 5 seconds, for example, this is 1 second. For example, this is 1 second. This is 5 seconds. Next is 10 seconds, 15 seconds, like that. So now every 5 seconds, start from current. Current means the present time, the 5 1. From present to oldest, present to oldest. So oldest means for every 5 seconds it is oldest. So 1 would be the oldest one. So these particular data would be read by Splunk. Next, again, second interval when it comes to another 5 seconds. From present to previous oldest, previous oldest. So once the data has been read, once again Splunk won't read it. If it is a new data, then only it will read. The old data, it won't read. So from present to previous 5 seconds. Again in next 5 seconds cycle, present to previous 5 seconds. So like that, Splunk will read the data. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what we'll do is we will deploy these applications on deployment server. See, now I have downloaded locally. It's in my local laptop. Okay, but these apps should be present on deployment server. So these apps we will place on deployment server. On deployment server. So Windows to Windows, it's just like copy paste, but Windows to Linux means for other flavors, we will use one of the tool called WinHCP. So we can install WinHCP. So I do not have WinHCP. Okay, let me install it. So in organizations also you will use this WinHCP software to download. But in organizations you won't download from websites. So you will have some internal software centers or these things. From there you will be installing this WinHCP. Okay, so WinHCP is installed. So once you open WinHCP, you will get like this login page. Okay, so here you don't change anything, don't change any protocol. So file transfer normally it will happen via FTP, so which is like here SFTP, which is a secure file transfer protocol. So where you have to copy, so that particular host name you can give here. So in our case, we need to copy to our deployment server. So you can take deployment server IP address. So this is my deployment server. I'll take IP address of my deployment server. Come back to WinHCP and a host name place I have given my deployment server IP address. Don't change any port number and username. Normally, whenever we log in into server, we'll use by default username, which is ec2-user. So you can use that one. And password. We'll attach ppk file right while we log in via putty. So similar way we can attach ppk file. How we can attach is click on advanced. Here left side under SSH auth. So similarly how we used to do in putty. So here click on authentication, browse your ppk file. Okay, login. Yes. Okay. So now left side is my local machine and right side it's my destination machine. Okay. So now I need to copy from my local machine to Linux server. So this is my destination. So normally in every organization we will have some permission issues. So we cannot copy to any of the place. So if you go to root, there will be TMP, which is like a temporary directory on Linux. So every Linux TMP would be available. That is by default, which comes with Linux OS. So in organizations, you will have access to this TMP. So you won't have a right access for any other directories. So you can go to TMP and here you can copy the required files. So for now, I want to copy both Windows add-on and Nix add-on. Both you can select, drag and drop, drag and drop. So upload two files, yes. So it will go to temporary directory. So I've placed both the apps in temporary directory. Now we will log in into Putty session to organize it. So I'm logging into deployment server Putty. Okay, so username is ec2-user. Okay, so for any actions you want to perform, it should be like a root. So sudo space su. So now we have copied our files in temp directory. So cd/temp, cd/temp, and I'm giving like ll, which is a long list, and I can see. Okay, so here are our files. Here are our files which we have copied, the two directories. Okay, so now see, it should display on deployment server. It should display under apps directory. It should display under apps directory. apps column. So on deployment server, where we have to place apps is on deployment server, where we have to place apps is on deployment apps. So which would be available on, okay, so first thing we'll copy, I'll say, okay, so cp is a copy command in Linux. If you want to move it, emv, so move completely, like cut. So if you want to copy, you can copy cp all small case letters. Cp is a copy command, space dash capital R means recursive, means the contents of the directory also. For example, here Splunk tnx. So I want to copy this contents also. So that's why we can use R space. Which one we need to copy? This is the folder which I need to copy. To where space, to where I need to copy? opt Splunk etc deployment apps. So this is the path where you will place all applications on your deployment server. And this path is very, very important. Whenever you want to place any app on deployment server, you will go to, and whenever you want to do some configurations for apps, you will go to this particular path, opt Splunk etc deployment apps. So here we need to copy, enter. Okay, we'll see later whether it is copied or not. So similarly, we'll do for the Windows one also. -R. This is the directory which I need to copy. Space. This is the path where we need to place. Enter. Okay, so we can go here and we can see. We'll go to this path. So CD. Okay, if you give LL, means list of available things. So where we can see both two files are copied here, means opt Splunk etc deployment apps, both are available. Okay, so now again here, if you see the files under deployment apps or anything, so for example on opt we have Splunk, on opt we have Splunk. So in Splunk directory, if you see everything, every file and every directory, they were working with Splunk user. So this is the user and this is the ownership, means like group and ownership. So Splunk is the user and Splunk is the ownership. So group and ownership are with Splunk. Group and ownership are with Splunk. So now whatever files we copied, if we see etc deployment apps, it is with root user and root ownership. It is with root. So we need to convert this thing to, we need to convert the permissions to Splunk. So how we can change? ch1. So change ownership. ch1 is a command which is used for change ownership. And I'm giving -R, capital R, which is like recursive, means the contents of these folders also should come with space with Splunk user. So Splunk group and ownership, means ownership and group. So Splunk is the user and group is also Splunk. So Splunk : Splunk, Splunk : Splunk. And to whom we need to change. For example, this one. Okay, enter. Now enter. If we give LL, if you see Splunk TNX, earlier it was with root user and root ownership. But after using this command, it got changed to Splunk user and Splunk ownership. So even we can see inside this Nix also. So it would be changed to Splunk. Why? Because we used ch1-r, which is a recursive. So means the contents in this directory also will get the same permissions whatever we are using here. It's a purely Linux one. Okay. Okay, so coming back again. So now we'll change permissions for Windows directory as well. So ch1 space -r space Splunk is the user and Splunk is the ownership :Splunk space directory to which we need to change. So if you give ll, so everything got changed to Splunk. So now you have placed on deployment apps. So if you log into your deployment server, see earlier, if you see here, apps, it was showing 0, server class showing as 0, clients showing as 2. Means 2 forwarders we have, but server class or nothing, 0 it is showing, not yet created, and apps also it is showing 0. So no apps found in server repository. Okay, so we'll refresh thing. Because just now we have copied everything into deployment server backend. We'll refresh and we'll see. Okay, so once we refresh, if you see, apps shows 2. App shows 2 means whatever we have copied on deployment. See, here also they have given repository location. Splunk home means opt Splunk, wherever Splunk is installed. In that etc deployment apps. So we have 2 applications installed here. Is it clear so far?
Yes, sir.
So now we have installed apps. Now this Nix app, it is a Linux related one. It should go to Linux server, and this is a Windows one. It should go to Windows server. How we can do those mappings? That one we can do on server class. So if we go to server class tab, see no server class. If you want to create one, you can create. If you want documentation, Splunk will provide you a clear documentation on this. If you click on this, you will get a clear documentation which says like how to create a server class, everything they will give. So about deployment server and forwarder management. So what is deployment server? Is mandatory forwarder management. So here everything they will give you a short descriptions about everything. Okay, so we'll go for this later. Okay, now server class are 0. So we can create one. So click on create one. And in organizations, these things regularly you will do. So whenever new applications are onboarded, you will create these server class, these things. So this one would be like most of the times you will be doing in organizations. So click on create one. So it will ask for server class name. For example, I'm giving like all my Windows server. So all dash Windows dash servers. So in organizations, it depends the naming convention based upon the application of these things you can create. Okay, so I'm giving all Windows servers. Save. So once we click on save, it will show, okay, this is my server class. This is my server class, says all Windows server. Now you haven't added any apps and you have not added any clients. So we have created one group, and in this group, we need to add which app should go to which servers, which app should go to which servers. Those configurations we need to do. Understood? We are creating a group and we are saying which app should go to which clients. See, for example, simple example, consider this is a college. Okay, so in college, how many branches you will have? So this is apps, and which branch, which student should come. For example, if it is a computer science, so all the computer science students has to come to computer science. Similarly, electrical students, so electrical is a branch, all the electrical students should go under electrical department. Simple thing. So you have created a group which is called a server class. Now which apps? So click on add apps. So it will show us list of apps available on deployment server. So left side one, it will show list of apps available on deployment server. For now, we have two apps. So we are going for Windows servers. So select this one. Once you select, it will come to right side. Okay, I have added Windows app because this should go to Windows servers. So click on save. Okay, so here you can see app is added. And if you see clients 0 deployed, means till now this app is not deployed to any of the universal forwarder. So 0. Okay, next add clients. Here we'll add clients to which server it should go. So click on add clients. So here we'll have two options. One is include and exclude. See, whenever you want to send this app to all the servers, you can use star so that it will go for all the servers. And if you want to specify some specific server, you can write specific host names, for example, ABC. Okay, so you can write server ABC and multiple you can write comma XYZ, like that. How many servers you want, you can write comma. Everything is like comma separated. Here itself they have given examples. Okay, and also for example, instead of giving, see with I have couple of servers. For example, ABC 1 is one server, ABC 2 is another server name, ABC 3 is another server name. So instead of writing these things, what we can do, see ABC is common on all the things. So instead of writing everything, ABC star. So after ABC, whatever it is there, like ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, anything, it will pick. So like this also you can write. Okay. So it should go to all Windows servers. I'm giving all. And if you want to blacklist, means this app should not go to certain servers. Those things you can mention here under blacklist, where you don't want to push the app. And this is an optional. So in organizations, they will say like this app should be go to all the 100 servers except one or two. So at the time you can add the host names here. And right side one more option is there, like filter by mission type. So by using mission types also we can filter. So mission type is nothing but either 32-bit or 64-bit, whatever. So if you click on this plus, see Linux 64-bit, I have one server. Windows 64-bit, I have one server. Means universal forwarders. If you have more number of count, it will show the count here. So now we are going for Windows. So include star all the servers. I'll go with Windows 64. Select that Windows 64. See below you can see all your forwarders, available forwarders. Now above we have given some filtration, like it should go to all the servers. It should go to all the servers only which has a mission type called Windows 64, which has Windows 64. So here everything you can see all the universal forwarders. Okay, either here there is a preview option is there, you can see preview, or else matched. So if you click on matched, see no clients. Okay, because nothing, because we have not yet saved. So click on preview. So preview, if you see here below, there is a tick mark which says like matched. So I'm sending for all the servers. See if you remove this one, okay, for example, I have removed mission type, I have included all. Click preview. And if you go to matched, it has selected both the servers. even Linux and as well as Windows. But Windows app, if it go to Linux, there is no use. So that is where we will filter using mission type. So we'll filter with Windows, save. So now you will get, okay, so Windows app should go to Windows server. And earlier, if you see under apps, clients was 0. Now it shows app, one deployed app. So similarly, we will do for Linux as well. Is it clear on server class part?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so come back to forward management. So I need one more server class. So here there is a option, new server class option. Click on new server class. I'm giving all Linux servers. Save. So this is the group, all Linux servers, which is called a server class technically, and which app it should go. Click on add apps. So we can see all the available apps on deployment server. Okay, we'll pick next one, which is for Linux. Save. And to which servers it should go, add clients. So here all servers I need. I'm not blacklisting anything. We'll go with Linux mission type. Linux, save. Okay.
सर
So if you see, yeah,
सर ये जो सर्वर क्लास है ये जो आपने बनाई है सर
yes,
व्हाट द मेन यूज इन दिस क्लासेस Linux and Windows.
main use of server class.
Yes, sir.
See, segregation, Pooja. Okay, so now simple example I'll say. Okay, so in your mobile through browser, can you access any of the application?
Yes, sir.
So you can access Facebook, you can access Gmail, Twitter, whatever you want, you can access via browser, correct?
Browser. Yes, sir.
Okay, but still you are going for some apps. You are installing some apps on your mobile. Okay, so for example, for Gmail alone, you want to do some settings.
Yes,
For
sir.
Gmail alone, you want to do some settings. Or for Facebook alone, you want to do some changes. So using browser, can you do those settings?
Yes, sir.
See, after logging into Facebook app, you can do some settings. Okay, through browser. So before logging into Facebook app itself, through browser, you cannot do any changes.
Yes, sir. No changes.
So you will do app and there you can do some changes. Okay. So similarly, in server class, so that is a kind of app. So that's why we'll go for apps. So instead of doing changes globally, we will go for apps. In that apps, we'll do the configuration. So that is first part. Second part, now server class. So why we are creating this server class? See, for example, we discussed one of the example like college. Okay.
Yes.
So in your
Yes, sir.
college, see, whenever you join your engineering, so they will give you some allotment or kind of thing. Okay, Pooja has to go to computer science department. So now you will come to your college and you will ask where is computer science department and you will go and sit in respective classroom. Correct?
Yes, sir.
If they do not mention like, okay, Pooja is allocated to computer science, that one they did not mention. So now where you will go? To which college you will go or to which department you will go? Nothing, right? without mentioning like Pooja has allocated to computer science. If there is no such kind of message, so where you will go? Nowhere, because you don't know like where to go. So in server class also, we will create, for example, consider this is as a college. So this is the college. So in this college, we'll have apps. So multiple apps. Okay. So for example, consider these things as a departments. Okay. So this is a college. In that, I have computer science department. I have electrical department. I have computer electronics. So like that, multiple departments will have, and we'll add students. So which student should go to which branch? Pooja, you are understanding or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Earlier also you said it's clear, and again you came back to the same thing. So those kind of segregations will do on server class.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear?
जी sir.
Okay. So now it is deployed. Okay. Should go to my forwarders. So these apps here I can see like one it is deployed and all. Okay. So normally in organizations after placing apps after creating server class, what we'll do is we will reload server classes. See, reload means just a kind of a refresh. So once we refresh the contents available on these apps on deployment server, everything will go to clients. Everything will go to clients. So how to reload a server class? So sudo su. Okay. So all Splunk related commands we will be executing on OPT Splunk bin directory. So here /Splunk space reload space deploy hyphen server. So this particular command will reload all the server classes. So it will prompt for username and password. So login successful and reloading server class. So it will reload all the server classes. And if there are any changes on deployment server, those changes will apply to the forwarders. Those changes will apply to the forwarders. Okay. So now on deployment server, I've placed the apps. Okay. I'm not sure whether it went to client or not. Okay. So we'll log into one of the forwarder and we'll see. See, for example, this is my Windows forwarder. So I've sent to Windows also. So we have to go to where. So Universal Forwarder is installed on C program files. Universal Forwarder, etc. See, on deployment server, it is deployment apps. And when comes to forwarder layer, it will convert into apps. When it comes to forwarder layer, it comes to apps. So if you go and see under apps, see Splunk TA Windows. So Splunk TA Windows, this particular app we have placed on deployment server. But now it is reflecting on Universal Forwarder. So whatever configurations available on deployment server, those configurations will come to the respective forwarders and it will sit under etc apps. When it is a deployment server, it would be on deployment apps. When it comes to forwarder layer, it would be under apps. Under apps. So similarly for Linux also we can check. Okay, let me log into one of the Linux forwarder. Okay, so cd opt splunk etc apps. So it would come under etc apps. So if you see here, Nix is there. See, on deployment server, I have Windows application also, but that Windows application, it did not came to Linux one. It did not came to Linux one. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is why we will create a server class, and from deployment server we'll push. See here, there are some permissions issues. Root. Why? Because on deployment server, everything we have done via root user. On deployment server, everything we have done like a root. So what we can do in these cases, see already Splunk has one user. So after logging into EC2, you can use a command like sudo space su space Splunk. So Splunk has created one separate user. So instead of doing as a root, you can do via Splunk also, like sudo space su space Splunk. So it will go as a Splunk user. Instead of root user, it will go as a Splunk user. And all the Splunk related commands you can use via Splunk user. So first we'll see cd opt Splunk etc deployment apps. So this is my deployment apps. Okay, so here I have Nix and Windows. Okay, but here it says like Splunk user. But when we see on forwarder, it came as a root. So what we can do? So once again, we'll reload server class. So once again, we'll reload server class and see if it comes with Splunk user or not. Opt Splunk bin Splunk space reload space deploy hyphen server. Okay, so permission denied. So only with the root only we can execute this particular command. So with Splunk user, it is not getting executed. Okay, fine, not a problem. So on universal forwarder, we can change the permissions. So how to change permissions? So hit ch1 hyphen r Splunk Splunk group user and ownership to which to Nix. Okay, so now permissions got changed. So this is how you will deploy apps on deployment server, and you can push to the forwarders. So in interviews, you may get a question like, if you have a number of forwarders, how you will manage? So you can say using deployment server, we can manage by placing apps on the deployment server so that we can do the configurations globally. And using server classes, we can do a segregation, like which application should go to which server. Those
हेलो सर, आपकी आवाज़ नहीं आ रही है।
Sorry, Pooja, got a call. Just a moment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Pooja, sorry, I'm back. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so is this fine? How to deploy apps on deployment server, and how to create a server classes, and the mapping, like which app should go to which server. So is this fine? And this thing in your real-time experience or in organizations, you will be frequently doing this particular job, this particular activity.
Yes, sir.
So is it clear? Okay. So if you're fine with this thing, next we will go for data onboarding. Means we have placed apps on deployment server. From there, we have pushed to respective universal forwarders. Now, how to onboard data into Splunk? How you can onboard data into Splunk? So that particular thing we can cover. Okay. So how we can onboard? See, for example, this is my search head. Okay. So here, see, I have installed Windows application. I have installed Linux application. Okay. But if I want to see some Windows data, still we have not onboarded that Windows data. So still we have not yet onboarded Windows data, or we have not onboarded Linux data. So now we will onboard Linux data, Linux and Windows data. So now whenever you want to do configuration on forwarders, means from forwarder I need to bring some data. So you no need to log in on forwarder end. You no need to log in on forwarder end. Everything you can do via your deployment server. So everything you can do via deployment server, because all the apps are available on deployment server. All the apps are available on deployment server. Okay. So this time we'll use like sudo su Splunk. So with Splunk user will do. Okay. So everything is available on cd opt Splunk etc deployment apps. So here I have all the apps. See now, from Windows Server I need to bring some data. From Windows Server I need to bring some data, means we need to do configurations on Splunk TA Windows app. So instead of doing on individual forwarder, we'll do on deployment server, and from there we'll push to all the forwarders. So you can go to this. So here you will have everything on deployment server. So default will have complete information about Splunk configurations, everything. So if you see under default, so you'll have all kind of applications or inputs. So we also discussed about inputs.conf, if you remember. So inputs.conf, which says like which data has to capture. So universal forwarder has to capture which data. Those kind of things will be available under inputs.conf. Okay, and even there is a local directory also. We'll see what is available in local. So sorry, where I went. Okay, so here there is a local. Okay, local it's created with the root account. Okay, fine. So we can change the permissions. So ch1 -r Splunk. Okay, with Splunk user we cannot change. So it should be like with root. So ch1 -r Splunk Splunk to whom I need to put is Splunk etc deployment tabs for Windows app. Okay, we have changed everything. Okay, fine. So once again we'll move to Splunk user sudo su Splunk. So we'll navigate to cd/opt Splunk etc deployment apps. So here Windows. So in this earlier local was with root permissions. So now it got changed to Splunk. We'll see what is available under local. So here only app.conf is available. So nothing. See, normally we won't touch this default configurations. We will do this local configurations. Why? Because this default one, it's for our reference. It's for our reference. Splunk will give for a reference. Okay, and we can do it in local. We can pick some whatever required information and we can do it in local. No, I will edit default one means we can edit. Okay, so we will edit the default one. Now, so I'm under opt Splunk etc deployment apps, and this is my application name under that Windows. Okay, so here inputs.conf is a important file where we need to do the changes. So vi means editor. In Splunk, if I want to edit a file, sorry, in Linux, if I want to edit a file, you can use vi command and the file name. So inputs.conf. So here, see, hash means like comments. So even in your development, you will be doing hash means like comments. So if you want to onboard application logs into Splunk, so make this disabled into 0. So if you press I means insert mode will come. Put it as 0 means you are enabling application logs. So if you want to onboard security logs, you can put it as 0. So default configuration means Splunk will give all these things. If you want to create, you need to create these kind of stanzas. So instead of that, Splunk is giving us a default which will help us. So we are enabling security logs. So here you can find lot of logs. So for example, system logs enable, you'll have system logs. Okay. And if you see forward events, okay. So similarly, DFS, some replication like Windows side, Active Directory logs, file replication. These are all like key management. So DNS server logs. So we'll have multiple DHCP logs if you want to onboard here DHCP logs. So there are multiple stanzas. So if you want Windows updates like patching information, so here you can enable this one. And if you want to bring CPU or like how many ports are available on your Windows server, so like that we will have like multiple logs. So each and every log which is generating on Splunk can be pulled, but whichever log you want to capture, you can enable that. Okay, so for example, we'll write. Okay, so we'll go to the top. We have enabled some application logs and all, right? We'll see. Okay, so here we have enabled some application logs. Now these application logs should go where? To which index will go? See, in the first class we discussed, while we are discussing about indexers, we discussed like chapter 1, chapter 1.1 would be the source type and chapter 1 would be the index. So here the source type would be Vinivity log application, means it's a kind of a application log. So to which index means you have to write it over here. So index equal to, for example, Windows. I'm saying like all Windows logs should go to Windows index. So I'm mentioning here, this is my index. Okay. Now, for example, security logs. So security logs also should go to the same index. See, multiple data can be moved to the same index, but the segregation will happen via security. So chapter 1, in the chapter 1, 1.1, in same chapter 1.2, like that. So for example, system logs also we will enable. So index equal to Windows. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for now, I have enabled 3 inputs. One is security logs, application logs, and system logs. So we'll enable logs again, like whenever we go into deeper, we will enable further logs. Okay. So to save file, escape colon WQ exclamatory in Linux. Okay. I have saved. So I have enabled some inputs on my deployment server. So similarly, we'll do for Linux as well. Okay, or else first we'll finish Windows part. Okay, so I have did some configurations on my Windows forwarders, means like Windows app, which should go to all the Windows forwarders. Okay, so after doing any kind of changes, you need to reload your server class. Okay, so we can do it as a root. Okay, for example, sudo su is the root. So reloading server class means we need to go to opt splunk bin all Splunk related commands we need to execute under opt Splunk bin directory. Splunk space reload space deploy hyphen server. Reload space deployment hyphen server. I'm doing. Or else if you want to specifically reload only Windows, I do not want to reload Linux server class. So you can reload that one also. Reload deploy hyphen server, and you can mention hyphen class and the class name. So our class name is all dash Windows dash servers. So this is our class name. So you can use this one also. So instead of reloading entire all the classes, if you want to specific any class, dash class and the class name. So this is the command. I'll share all these commands with you. No need to worry. I'll prepare a document and will share with you. Okay. So now server class also reloaded. Now we'll see whether the same configuration is reflected on Windows or not. Okay, so I came to Windows Server just to verify. Pooja, are you in driving?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
There is a disturbance from your side.
सर कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम चल रहा है.
Okay, so we'll verify here. So we'll go to Splunk TA Windows. So we have done on default only. Inputs we have done. See, if you see here, the same configuration is reflecting. So we have enabled it, means make it as 0. And also we have said like index equal to Windows, it should come. So the configuration reflected to forwarders. Clear? So like this, how many forwarders will have? All the forwarders will reflect the same configurations. So now we have enabled system logs, security logs, application logs, and we are saying this data should go to this particular index. Okay, so we'll go back to search it. So this is my search it. So now the data should come under Windows index. Okay, for example, that data, it should go and sit on Windows index, but we have not yet created any index on my indexer. So on universal forwarder, I'm saying, okay, the data should go and sit on Windows index, but the same thing we have to create on here also. So to create an index, you can log on to your indexer. So for now, indexer and search it both are same for us. So go to settings, left side here you can find indexes option. Left side here you can find out indexes option. So click on that indexes. So here you can see list of indexes available on our system. So for now there are some default indexes like audit, internal, these things. So now I wanted to create an index for my Windows. So click on new index. So index name Windows, because the same name we have used on the backend also, like index equal to Windows. So we'll use Windows. And index data type, choose events, means we need complete data. So choose events. Okay. Home path, cold path, third path. These are all the things which we discussed about bucket lifecycle. So we have discussed bucket lifecycle, right? Hot, warm, and cold. So the bucket lifecycle here you will mention. And data integrity means normally if someone is tampering the data, so those things Splunk will always keep an eye. You can put disable. Okay, and how much of index size you want. So this thing is based upon the retention policy. So for example, I need either you can put it as MB, GB, or TB. Okay, so for now I'll go with 500 MB is enough. Okay, and what would be the size of your hot bucket, warm bucket, cold bucket, and frozen these things. And retention, yes, enable retention. How many days Splunk has to store the logs? How many days Splunk has to store the logs? So you can put it minutes, seconds, days, and all. If you want 1 year, you can add 365. Okay. For now, I'll go with 30 days. See, this one customer will ask you. Customer, he will say, I need to store 3 months of data. Then you can say like 90 days. If he says like 6 months, you can update like 180. So based upon the customer requirement, you have to mention this, how many days you have to store the data, which is a retention policy. For example, now I'm going for 30 days. Okay, save. Okay, so now I've saved. So what I'll do is we'll